you feel you can't separate from the COVID narc, or excuse me, the covert narc. They might as well be COVID. I'm sure they've taken many lives. But you can't separate from the covert narc as easily as you could from, let's say, the grandiose or the overt narc because of a few reasons. One, they are crazy making, right? So with the overt narc, you have things that are very obvious. You know, a lot of chest beating. These people are grandiose. Another word for it is grandiose. These people are the people who are like, I'm the greatest, I'm the best, I'm the this, I'm the that. You know, if you think about a toxic version of Muhammad Ali, you know, that might be a fucking overt narc or a grandiose narc, a person who is, you know, very braggadocious, very, you know, swaggering, kind of in your face, you know, kind of a nuisance. You know, that's an overt narc, and that's something you could see from 3 football fields away. You can see this very easily. It's very easy to pick up on it. And, you know, for a lot of people, they find that behavior to be distasteful. So it's easy to get away from the overt narc. The covert narc is probably the inverse of that, right? So the covert narc is the opposite. The covert narc is a person who, rather than saying I'm the greatest and I'm the strongest and I'm the most handsome or I'm the most beautiful and I'm the whatever, the covert narc plays the opposite game. What they do is they act like a victim, and they act small, and they need sympathy, and they need help. And very often these people, you'll find, you know, they're always in a bad situation. They're always in a bad, you know, something bad happens to them. It's, you know, there's always a tragedy. Their cat just got hit by a car, and their house got hit by fucking lightning, and they didn't have insurance, and their account is overdrawn, and they have no food, and they're starving, and oh, my boss yelled at me, and this and that, and hey, did you see on the news some kid got abducted off their bike and they were dragged out into the woods and assaulted and murdered, and hey, and nothing but bad news from these people. Nothing but complaints, nothing but this is happening to me because I'm a victim, you know? And then they do the fucking puppy dog eyes, right? If you're a person with any kind of empathy in you, this light is pissing me off. Can't escape it. If you're a person, there we go, with any kind of empathy in you, it's gonna pull on your heartstrings to see a person in distress, to see a person who's clearly not coping well with life and appears to not have the resources to cope with life, and perhaps more fundamentally appears to not know how to get the resources to contend with life. You feel something for that person, right? So you might excuse some bad behavior from that person because you think, well, it's like a child. They don't know any better. They don't know any better. What are you going to do? Be angry at a child? That's another point. They make themselves like children. Okay, so it's hard to break away from that person because it's almost like abandoning a wounded animal, or like, let's say, an elderly person in distress. Whatever engenders a feeling of, oh my God, we've got to help this person, that's what they morph themselves into. Because what they do is they live off of the goodness in you, okay? Understand that if you're dealing with a covert narc, and you've gone through hell with them, and they're always the victim and no accountability and blah, blah, blah. The reason you're being targeted, the reason they're wasting any time on you, right, is because they know that there's goodness in you, and that goodness can be hooked and used, and they can exploit that. So it's almost a compliment, but it's still a curse to be targeted by these people, okay? The second reason it's hard to get away from a covert narcissist is they do this thing called gaslighting. What is gaslighting? I think the majority of the internet knows at this point, but for those who are, not familiar with that term, I would have to say that it's basically like me saying, My shirt is red. My scrub top is red. When you can very clearly see it's some sort of wrinkled blue number, right? But I'm going to tell you against everything you're saying, nope, this is red. I don't care what you say. I don't care about how you feel about it being blue. This is red. So they're going to do that. They're going to make you doubt your own reality. They're going to make you feel as though your assumptions, or not even assumptions, the reality you're observing, right, which runs counter to what they're trying to present, they're going to make you feel like you made that up, like it's bullshit, like you're defective up here, like something is wrong with you. They're going to do that. Why? Because if they acknowledge reality, then they acknowledge the person they are, and they're bad people. Brass tacks. They are bad people. They're bad people because they hurt people and they have no intention of changing. Everybody makes mistakes, but when you do the same shit over and over again, guess what? That makes you a bad person, right? So the bad person has to convince you that blue is red and black is white and up is down in order for them to shield themselves and remain covert under the radar, right? Because if you are given the opportunity to observe and call out reality, then they get called out, right? So what they do is they not only make you doubt your own reality via gaslighting, what they also do is add a shame component to it, right? So instead of it just being a disagreement that people have, right? Maybe in your culture, this is called red. You know, that could be a point. Maybe different people and different cultures call different colors different things, right? Who knows, right? But with them, the disagreement, the observation of reality is disputed and shame is applied. And how is that shame applied? It's not just, oh, but this is red, but I can respect that you think this is blue. I can respect that. I can allow you to have your own understanding and your own perception of the situation. Instead of doing that, what they're going to say is, not only is this red, but I think it's really wrong for you to call it blue. And I feel like you're trying to hurt me. I feel like you saying that my shirt is blue is just an indication that you don't pay attention to me, or that you don't care about my choice in the color of clothes I wear. And I really wish you would do better with allowing other people to have their lives. That's a covert narc, right? So even something as simple and stupid as the color of this stupid shirt becomes some sort of presidential debate, okay, in which they have to dig up all the dirt on you and try to lean on you and lean on your emotions in a negative way, in every negative way possible, right? So what do you have now? You have gaslighting and you have shame. What does that do in conjunction with one another, right? What does that do? So what you have is, I can't fucking accept that I see reality, and I can't accept that me seeing reality is a positive thing. You know, to say that in a way that's a little bit more clear, because I don't think that makes sense. I can't trust my own reality, and I can't trust my own reality. And I also realize that the things I view as reality are a reflection of my hatred and my anger and the desire I have to make other people have a bad time. Do you see how damaging that can be? Right? So why does that make it difficult to leave? It makes it difficult to leave because if you can't control or observe reality in this situation, the logical conclusion is that you can't understand reality anywhere. The logical conclusion is that any conclusion you come to is incorrect. So if you have a feeling that your narc's behavior is wrong, that you literally saw them say one thing, lie about it, and then say another thing 2 minutes later, right? If you see all that happening and you think to yourself, I need to get away from this person. This is an inconsistent person. This is a hurtful person. This is a person that plays the victim. This is the person who talks shit about me to anybody who will take a moment to listen. This is a person who has thrown dirt on my name. This is the person that has driven me and my siblings apart from one another. If you think all those things, which are probably logical, realistic, factual fucking things, another thought's gonna kick in right after that. And that thought is, you're wrong, you're mean, you're bad. Look at how fragile this person is. This person has done nothing to hurt you. This person isn't a bad person. It must be you. It must be your perception. You know what it is? Your anger is so egregious and so intense and fiery that you see the negative in everything. That's what the narc wants you to think. Because then they have the ultimate cover. And that's why I would posit that the covert narc is even more dangerous than the overt narc. It's almost like, I don't know if you watch true crime, but I watch a lot of true crime. I'm fascinated by abnormal psychology, clearly. I got a channel about it, in a way. I'm fascinated by what makes people do what they do, especially these people who commit these crazy crimes, And there was some sort of Ted Bundy quote where he was like, we're not walking around with saliva dripping from our mouths and looking like demons. We look just like you. We look like the average guy or the average woman walking down the street. We look like your baker, your banker, the kid that works at the grocery store. We look just like you. That's why we can go and grab these women off the streets and nobody would suspect us, right? That's the covert narc. Because the grandiose narc, if we're talking in the world of perpetrators and let's say like serial killers, right? The grandiose narc is the one walking around with a t-shirt that says, I hunt women. I have a van and I'm gonna pull up and abduct you. He's walking around with a shirt like that with some blood on the shirt and a knife in his hand and a rope slung over his shoulder and handcuffs dangling from his front pocket. That's the covert narc. We saw that. We saw that coming from a mile away. You'll never catch us, right? And those that are caught in it, I believe, okay, and correct me if I'm wrong, they have a greater chance of getting away because it's so obvious. And the reason they have a good way of getting away, good probability, of getting away is not only because it's obvious and over the top, but other people are around who can see this grandiose, over-the-top asshole doing grandiose, over-the-top asshole shit, and we can all look at each other kind of side-eyed and say, yeah, fuck that. I don't like that. I don't like that. That's too much. You're doing too much energy. You're doing too much, right? A lot of people don't like that. Most people don't like that type of boastful behavior. Whereas that covert narc, who looks like a little librarian and isn't walking around carrying all their murder tools and all those things, seems so soft and nice and self-deprecating. Well, they could never hurt me. Or if they have hurt me, it must be me. You see, I was raised by a covert narc, and I did not go no contact until last year. I'm 38, right? So when I think about the type of person I am, I'm the type of person, if it's a spade, I'm gonna call it a spade. That's it. I'm kind of clear cut and dry. I'm kind of one of those people, I call them like I see them, right? So you would think I would have recognized her bullshit a lot earlier, a lot faster, and, found the strength to just walk away and understand what the situation was, and understand that for my mental health, my physical health, it would be better to just wash my hands of it. But that wasn't the case. Because even if you are a very matter of fact, brass tacks, let's talk turkey, no bullshit kind of person, which I see myself as, you're still dealing with someone who is very skilled at hiding their intentions. And I do believe they know what they're doing, at least on some level. You're dealing with someone who knows how to do that, and even worse, if they're your parent or someone that was around when you were very, very young, when you were still an impressionable child, they came into your life at an age where your brain wasn't even fully formed, not even close to being fully formed. Not only that, you probably relied on them for your survival. So you were stuck. So even though you knew something was wrong, where could you go? And even though you knew something was wrong, they're the parent figure. They're the grandma or the stepdad or the stepmom. Society dictates that they're probably not wrong. It's probably you. You're the one growing up. You're the one with something to learn. So woe be it to anybody who was raised by a covert narc. Woe be it to you, because it's going to take a lot of strength. It's going to take a lot of determination. It's going to take a lot of fucking pattern recognition. It's going to take a lot of writing down the things that you saw and observed. It's going to take a lot of that, even more so, okay? And this is the big piece. It's going to take you disregarding the other people, the flying monkeys, the other people in the narcissistic cult, which I guarantee you will be there. You're not going to see a lone, isolated, covert narc. They can't survive. They can't survive. If they could survive on their own, they would blow their fucking cover. They've got to have a squad. They've got to have a team. They've got to have people to block bullshit off of them. The bullshit being their comeuppance for the bullshit they've done. They need that. You cannot be swayed by people who don't give a shit about your health. Now, I just blocked the last person that I've been in contact with in my family on Instagram. Just blocked her. Haven't heard from her. Doubt she'll notice, right? She went quiet on me when I went no contact with my mother. I never received a message from her, a text, or anything asking me why. She just decided to go quiet on me. Why? Because the narc has been talking shit about me for years. Saying that I'm uppity, saying that I'm above it all, and I'm just a little, I'm just I think I'm the king, and I think so highly of myself, and I'm so arrogant, and I'm such an asshole, right? So she's been primed and conditioned. So when she heard I went no contact, it was very easy for her to just assume, not ask, but assume that I was an asshole. And it was very easy for her to be shitty to me, if we're gonna boil it down. My response to her and anybody else who wants to follow in her lead is fuck you. This is my life, and I know what happened in my life, and I know what happened in my own home. So in summation, if you have a covert narc, you have to trust yourself. You cannot trust someone who has a pattern of unkindness, a pattern of self-sabotage, a pattern of invalidating your feelings, a pattern of invalidating the feelings of any other person who has a logical criticism of their behavior. If you have a covert narc, you have to be, as Cat Williams says, your own star player and support yourself and cheerlead yourself, because I guarantee you it's just gonna be you. Unless you know somebody else that's got no contact with that person who you can reach out and talk to and gain wisdom from and compare notes with, guess what? It's just gonna be you, and you need to accept that. Or you can stay and be gaslit forever. And that's the bottom line.